Costco rang up $275 billion across its registers last year. Hot dogs, rotisserie chickens, pallets of paper towels stacked to the ceiling. And on almost all of it, the company made next to nothing. The warehouse, the part you actually walk into, runs at razor-thin margins on purpose. So if Costco barely profits on what it sells you, how is it one of the most durable businesses on earth? The answer is sitting in your wallet. Let's take apart the real Costco. Start with the top line. $275 billion in total revenue for fiscal 2025. That's up from $196 billion just 4 years earlier. By any measure, this is a giant, one of the largest retailers on the planet. But raw sales are a trap. They tell you how much flows through the building. They tell you almost nothing about what Costco actually keeps. For that, you have to follow the money down the income statement. Here's the mechanic most people miss. Costco doesn't mark up its products to make a profit. It marks them up just enough to keep the lights on. The company caps the margin on most items, carries a deliberately tiny product range, a fraction of a normal superstore, and buys those products in staggering volume. Fewer choices, bigger pallets, lower prices. The result is a store that consistently undercuts nearly every competitor in America. That isn't an accident, and it isn't charity. It's a deliberate strategy to keep prices so low that walking past a Costco feels like leaving money on the table. The low prices are the bait. Now watch what they're baiting. Strip the membership fees out of Costco's profit, and look at what the merchandise alone earns. An operating margin of roughly 1.9%. Read that again. For every $100 of groceries, electronics, and tires that move across the registers, the actual selling of goods throws off under $2 of operating profit. A normal supermarket isn't lavish, but Costco is deliberately thinner than almost anyone alive. The warehouse, as a standalone business, barely breaks even, and that is the entire point. The store is engineered to make no money so that something else can make all of it. This is the engine. $5.3 billion in membership fees in fiscal 2025, up more than 10% in a single year. And here's why that number is special. A membership fee has almost no cost attached to it. There's no inventory to buy, no pallet to ship, no chicken to roast. The money members pay just to walk in the door drops straight to operating income at close to 100% margin. $5.3 billion of nearly pure profit. Now compare that to the merchandise. Here it is in one picture. Total operating income for the year, $10.4 billion. Of that, membership fees alone contributed $5.3 billion, which means the membership fee accounts for more than half, about 51%, of every dollar of operating profit Costco earns. The entire global empire of 914 warehouses, all that buying power and supply chain, generates only about $5 billion from actually selling things. The little plastic card generates the other half at a fraction of the effort. When the fee is larger than the entire merchandise business, you're not really looking at a retailer anymore. So let me say plainly what I think Costco actually is, because this is the thesis of this whole channel. The best businesses aren't loud, fast-growing, headline-grabbing things. They're quiet toll booths. They sit at a choke point, collect a small fee from a huge number of people, and compound that fee for decades while everyone else fights over scraps. Costco is the purest toll booth in retail. The warehouse isn't the business. The warehouse is the toll road you build so you can charge admission. Costco isn't a store that happens to sell memberships. It's a membership club that happens to run a store. Get that backwards, and the entire company makes no sense. And here's what turns a fee into a fortress. In the United States and Canada, 92.3% of members renew year after year. Worldwide, it's just under 90%. Think about what that means. Costco doesn't have to resell its product every year. It collects the same fee from the same 81 million households over and over like clockwork. That's not retail revenue, which is lumpy and seasonal and fragile. That's an annuity. A recurring, prepaid, high-margin cash stream that renews itself more reliably than most subscriptions you actually use. Now look at the growth. Revenue climbed from $196 billion in fiscal 2021 to $275 billion in fiscal 2025. That's almost 40% in 4 years, with no gimmicks and no major acquisitions. Just more warehouses, more members, more renewals. Every new warehouse isn't really a new store. It's a new toll booth, each one signing up thousands of members who will pay, and pay again, for years. The flywheel just keeps turning, and the profit compounds just as quietly. Operating income went from $6.7 billion in fiscal 2021 to $10.4 billion in fiscal 2025. Net income climbed from $5 billion to $8.1 billion over the same stretch. No drama, no boom and bust. Just a steady upward grind, year after year after year. This is what a compounding toll booth looks like on a chart, not a rocket ship, a staircase. And staircases, unlike rocket ships, very rarely come crashing back down. Now here's the counterintuitive part, and it's the most beautiful piece of the whole design. The two halves of Costco feed each other. Because the merchandise margin is microscopic, prices stay brutally low. Because prices stay brutally low, the membership feels like an obvious bargain. Because the membership feels like a bargain, around 90% of members renew year after year. And because they renew, Costco gets $5 billion of nearly free profit to plow back into even lower prices. The low margin isn't a weakness, it is the moat. Rivals who try to copy the prices can't survive them. Rivals who try to copy the fee don't have the prices to justify it. And the moat is deepening. Costco's executive members, the ones who pay the higher annual fee, now drive roughly 74% of worldwide net sales. These are the most loyal, highest-spending members, locked in by a rewards program that literally pays them to spend more. In 2024, Costco raised its fees for the first time in 7 years, the basic card to $65, the executive tier to $130, affecting around 52 million memberships. Almost nobody flinched. When you can raise the price of admission and barely lose a single member, you don't have customers. You have a moat with a turnstile. So the next time someone calls Costco a low-margin grocery chain, you'll know better. It's a membership business wearing a warehouse as a disguise. $5.3 billion of nearly pure profit, renewing in the United States and Canada at over 90%. Financing prices no rival can match. That is the quiet monopoly. Not a flashy growth story. A toll booth that gets a little wider and a little harder to dislodge every single year. If you want more teardowns of the quiet, durable businesses that compound while everyone's watching something shinier, subscribe. We do this every week. I'll see you at the next one.